Hello and welcome back to Snap Decision. Today we're going to be doing a tier list ranking of all the running backs in the NFL this season and letting you know how we feel they match up against each other for your drafts. Alright, so first up for our first tier we have the This Boy Feeds tier, and there's only one guy that belongs in this tier, and that's Christian McCaffrey. I mean, you're probably only getting this guy if you have the first, if you're lucky, second pick in the draft this year. If he's there and you're on the clock, you should be taking him. He is the most consistent player in fantasy football. He's one of the most talented players to ever grace the field. Christian McCaffrey, I mean, I don't really have to say much about him. Right now, he is dealing with a calf injury that's going to keep him out for the entirety of the preseason. But a player of his caliber with his experience, absolutely nothing to worry about. If anything, it's kind of a boost that he won't get injured in the preseason because he does have a history of being injury prone. So yeah, Christian McCaffrey in a tier of his own right there. Our next tier of players are the league winners and losers. These are players that can either win you your league or lose you your league. And the biggest mistake a lot of people make in fantasy football is not drafting to win. They draft safe. I say don't draft safe, draft players that are going to win you your league. And these are players that can win you your league. Other people might tell you not to draft them because they're high risk, but high risk, high reward is what you should be looking for in these earlier rounds. Obviously, if you can get a lock like Christian McCaffrey, you take him, but these are guys that some are safe, some aren't, but these guys can all individually win you their league if they live up to their full potential. So coming up first, we have the ultimate boom or bust player in the NFL this season, and that's De'Von Achane. And really, his only bust is that he is a little injury prone. He got injured last year, and that's the biggest concern for him. I don't think Raheem Mostert is a huge competition for him. I think he's a lot better player. And when Achane is healthy and on the field, he does monster numbers, and he can certainly win you your league. He's one of the only guys that I could see outscoring McCaffrey this season. So the next player in the league winner-loser category is Breece Hall. Breece Hall was the RB2 last year, and he's going to be on an even better offense this year now that Aaron Rodgers is back. He's a receiving, power-rushing, workhorse running back. He checks all the boxes. He's exactly what you look for in a league-winning running back, and he's going really early in drafts this year. And if you can get him and McCaffrey's not on the board, I would draft Breece Hall as the RB2 this year, because of his league-winning upside. And the next running back we have is Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry is a certain league winner or loser this year because he's going pretty high in drafts. He's going in the back half of the first round. But rightfully so, he is on the greatest offense that he has ever been on in his career. He's had some amazing years in fantasy football. And now that he's on an offense led by Lamar Jackson, he's going to see probably some of the lightest defensive focus he's seen in his entire career, and it's going to give him tons of different opportunities that he hasn't seen before, and I could definitely see him having a career year at 30. The next guy that can win you or lose your league is Jahmyr Gibbs. He was phenomenal in his rookie campaign last year. He would have been a top 3 running back if David Montgomery wasn't over there stealing all the touchdowns. And I think this year it's going to change a little bit. This offense is going to have a lot more trust in him, and he is going to be further developed, and he is going to kind of take the reins on this offense in Detroit. And I think he's going to be the star of the show there. I could definitely see him outscoring Amon-Ra, Montgomery, Laporta, all of those fantasy studs. I can see him outscoring them all this year and winning you your leagues. And last up in the league winner or loser category, we have Bijan Robinson. He's going very high in drafts this year, and I mean, he's one of the most talented running back prospects we've seen. He's a phenomenal receiving back. He can be the workhorse for Atlanta. Kirk Cousins is there now. This team is really starting to take form as a possible, actual, legitimate contender, and if they are, Bijan is going to have to be good, and I could definitely see Bijan being a top 3 to potentially the league-winning RB1 this year. So if you're big on any of these 5 and agree that you could see them finishing as the RB1. I would definitely not draft anyone over McCaffrey, but I could really see anyone justifying drafting any of these guys in the first round and taking them as your league winner. So our next tier are the players who have great ADPs. This is something you really have to look for in your drafts. You have to try to get value everywhere you can to build the best roster. So this next set of players I think should be heavily valued in your draft strategy, but not as heavily valued as guys like Christian McCaffrey and our league winners. So first up, we have Rachaad White, who has an ADP at the RB13, an ADP of 47.7, and he finished as the RB4 last season. He had a phenomenal year, a quiet year, but this is a guy that I think is really worth the shot as your RB2 on your team. If you could grab one of these league winners and then grab Rachaad White as your RB2, you are looking really, really strong in your running back room. And up next in our great ADP category, we have James Cook for the Buffalo Bills. He finished as a top 15 running back last year and is going at the RB14. One slot lower than Rachaad White, but 13 picks back in the average draft. So a decent bit lower in the drafts. There's kind of a jump off there in the ADPs in the running back tiers. But James Cook is a guy that you definitely don't want to overlook at all. We've done a couple other videos on him. He has phenomenal upside this season. He's a great receiving back, and he saw a big step up last year from his rookie season. And we could see him step up even further this year and potentially be a top 10, top 5 even running back in a electric Buffalo Bills offense. Yes, Stephon Diggs is gone. Yes, all these stars in Buffalo are gone, but Josh Allen's still there. That offense is still going to be electric, and James Cook is potentially going to be the focus, and he could really capitalize on these increases in opportunity in Buffalo. And the next guy up with a great ADP is Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is currently going as the RB10 in drafts. He has an ADP of 41, which I think is a little low. Josh Jacobs, we've done a couple of videos on him as well. A lot of these great ADP running backs we've done in-depth analysis on our channel. And Josh Jacobs is a guy who was on a really brutally terrible Raiders offense, and he still found ways to shine throughout his career. And now that he is in Green Bay on a fantastic offense led by Jordan Love, he could see a career year, and his ADP is not reflecting that people expect him to see a career year. And he would be a phenomenal guy to see as your RB2. I wouldn't really see him as your RB1. Like I was saying, I would target these league winner and losers if you don't get CMC, and then back them up with one of these great ADPs. And Josh Jacobs is a great guy to slide into your RB2 if you can. Our next great ADP running back is Alvin Kamara. He finished as the RB11 last season, very quietly, and he has never in his entire career finished below the RB16. And this year he is going as the RB17 in drafts, which I think is just criminal. Yes, he's aging. Yes, he has competition in the backfield, but he is a PPR monster. And if you're not in a PPR league, I would kind of disregard this analysis. I wouldn't really look at Kamara for a non-PPR league, but most people are in PPR leagues, and Kamara is a PPR beast. He is a phenomenal snag as an RB2 and even a flex. If you have him in your flex, you're in a very good position. So Kamara, a guy that really doesn't need to score. He doesn't need to see 20 rushing attempts in a game, because this guy is going to pop off. He's going to get 11 catches this week. Next week, he's going to get 8. He is a PPR monster and a guy that you should definitely not sleep on this year. Next up in our great ADPs, we have Aaron Jones. He is the former Packers back, now on the Vikings with a rookie quarterback. He can see a great opportunity this year to kind of benefit from this very spread out offense with a ton of stars. We saw Aaron Jones show that he still has a lot more left in the tank. That last season in the playoffs, he finished as the RB1 and RB5 the 2 weeks he was in the playoffs, when his team really relied on him. And we could potentially see the Vikings relying on Aaron Jones. As crazy as it sounds, JJ McCarthy could definitely struggle this season and rely on his running back. So 11 running backs down, almost through 3 tiers. We still have a couple more great ADP running backs to cover. We have to cover the excellent handcuffs you should be targeting, the players who won't disappoint you at their ADPs, and players who will disappoint you at their ADPs. All of this will be covered in the part 2 of this video, so make sure you subscribe and look for that coming out soon.